Yo, what up, what up? It's your man, Big Brandon Carter, and in this video, we're gonna talk about how to get rid of stubborn belly fat. Let's go. Yo, Brandon, Gym God Carter, how do I get rid of stubborn belly fat? See, a lot of guys will say, hey man, I'm making great progress, but my belly fat, man, my stomach, is still fat. How do I get rid of that? I'm gonna tell you why that's happening and how you can fix it. All right, so check it out. So fat burning in your body is a two-part process. There's one part called lipolysis and another part called oxidation. And it's important to know the difference between these two as it pertains to belly fat and stubborn fat areas in your body. So lipolysis is the process when your body breaks down fat cells into fatty acids. And oxidation is your body using those fatty acids for energy. When you're burning fat, your body will stimulate lipolysis by first producing hormones like adrenaline and noradrenaline. They attach to your fat cells at points called receptors. And this triggers the release of fatty acids, all right? That's lipolysis. Now, oxidation is what happens when your body utilizes those fatty acids for energy. Now, here's where things get a little tricky. Fat cells have two different types of receptors that trigger lipolysis. There's alpha receptors and beta receptors. Alpha receptors actually prevent lipolysis, and the beta receptors actually trigger lipolysis. And the more beta receptors that a fat cell has, the more easily lipolysis is triggered and the more easily it can be broken down to use as energy. But here's the problem, bro. Belly fat, the fat cells in your belly, they have more alpha receptors. So it's harder to trigger lipolysis and fatty acid breakdown within those cells. Making matters worse, as men, we store more fat in general in our belly, in our stomach area. Like, we just have more fat cells here, where women have more fat cells in the hip and in that butt. All right, that big old butt. And all them fat cells on there, you can't break down them fatty acids. You got way too many alpha receptors in there. You need an alpha ass man for that ass. Oh, sorry, we're talking about belly fat. But never fear, there are ways to break down the belly fat cells. But before that, let's talk about some of the myths that are perpetuated in the media and the fitness industry about belly fat. I'm gonna tell you some of the stuff that don't work before I tell you the stuff that does work, because I don't want you to get finessed by these charlatans and hooligans out here. So myth number one, you cannot spot reduce fat. You can't just burn fat in one spot. You can't just say, oh, I'm gonna burn fat here, get that armpit fat. No, you're gonna have to burn fat accumulatively. It just so happens the belly fat is gonna be last, because one, we have more fat cells here, and it's gonna be harder to break down because there's so many alpha receptors in them fat cells. Myth number two, there are no special foods that will break down belly fat, that will just target belly fat. People will tell you eat some quinoa or some shit, that's going to burn belly fat, or there's going to be some special foods, and all that is fucking nonsense, okay? Meal frequency doesn't target belly fat either, right? In the 90s, they said eat 6 meals a day. Now everybody's saying skip breakfast. None of that is going to target belly fat specifically. I just want to be clear about that. Hey, but both work. Like, people got ripped off 6 meals a day. Everyone just talks about like it's nonsense. People got ripped in the 90s off 6 meals a day. People get ripped with intermittent fasting. Like, either way will work, but it won't target the belly fat cells specifically. Stupid. And the last myth I want to say is, in those like wraps that people wrap around the stomach, that won't target belly fat either. Cut that shit out. You look crazy. You look like a fucking crazy person wrapping your stomach in saran wrap. Listen, your stomach ain't leftovers, all right? We're not trying to preserve it and cook it later, right? It doesn't work like that. Bro, cut it out, knock it off. The only thing that's going to do is get rid of some water weight. I mean, that's not nothing, but it's not burning fat. You might be thinking, hey, Big Brandon Carter, how do I burn this unwanted stubborn belly fat? I'm glad you asked, bro. This is how you do it. The main thing you need to do to accomplish that is to burn more calories than you consume. Those of y'all know I do the ketogenic diet. Bro, you can eat all carbs and still burn fat as long as you're burning more calories than you consume. All right, that's the main thing you want to do. The reason I do keto is because when I feel better doing it, it also gets rid of the water weight, which is not insignificant. My skin got clearer, my cholesterol dropped over 100 points the first month I was on it, and it continued to dip. It's the first time I actually felt good dieting. You don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want, bro. Calm your goofy ass down. You can eat 6 meals of all carbs a day, right? Or you can do intermittent fast. It doesn't matter as long as you're burning more calories than you consume. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is cardio, but it's HIIT cardio, high intensity interval training. There's a few reasons why it works. One, you just burn way more calories throughout the day. It'll raise your overall metabolic rate, but it will also increase blood flow drastically, like and way better than traditional cardio. Increased blood flow increases lipolysis and increased blood flow to certain areas. Even though you can't spot reduce fat, more blood flow to those areas will result in greater lipolysis. I often say don't train abs every day. Well, don't train abs every day like the same way you do resistance training. You can do like cardio ab workout, like some of the 4-minute ab workouts I post here. You can do that all the time, but you just want to get blood flow to this region, and it increases lipolysis. There's a lot of studies that corroborate this. And one of the reasons the belly fat is so stubborn is because it doesn't get as much blood flow as like your arms. You're moving your arms all the time, every day, every which way, right? And that's why people most of the time have veins in their arms but nowhere else. And once you're in a caloric deficit, those cells that are benefited from that increased blood flow will be able to be mobilized for energy more effectively. Studies show that fasted training also increases lipolysis. So if you work out on an empty stomach, maybe first thing in the morning, I would take some BCAAs before that to prevent muscle breakdown. But if you train on an empty stomach, you'll be more insulin resistant, and studies show that it increases lipolysis, and that's what you want, especially for those stubborn areas. Make sure you take some BCAAs before that. The protocol is to take 5 to 10 grams of BCAAs prior to fasted training. Hey, shameless plug, I have an amazing BCAAs called Revolt. It has a 5-on-1 ratio, but we also added a little bit of caffeine to help you give a little bit of oomph. We added some glutamine and some taurine, some other amino acids to really help prevent muscle breakdown and actually help you build muscle. I think that's important if you do fasted training that you take BCAAs. You don't have to take my shit. You can take anyone's supplements. But are these other motherfuckers giving you free advice, man? These other guys giving you free advice? No. I am. It's a good way to say thank you. If you're going to take BCAAs anyway, take mine. And that's a way to thank me for all this amazing free advice I've been giving you. Or don't, whatever. I don't give a fuck. But listen, just take somebody's BCAAs. Just buy some crap from GNC or some shit. I don't give a fuck. And also lift heavy weights, man. I mean, lift weights. Every man above the poverty line should be lifting weights on a consistent basis. If you're not, you're playing yourself. Not only will lifting weights help you burn more calories, it's going to increase blood flow, which increases what? Lipolysis, which increases what? The breakdown of fatty acids. So to recap, no matter what, your belly fat is going to be the last part to go if you're trying to lose weight, because we have more cells there. Men, we store more cells there. And because those cells actually have less beta receptors and more alpha receptors, which makes lipolysis more difficult. So if you have been losing weight and you've been getting rid, but you still have stomach fat, you could have basically ignored everything I just said and just kept doing what you're doing, and it will happen eventually. Just be the last thing to go. To speed it up, when you want to get more blood flow in general and more blood flow to this area. All right, maybe not like your legit ab workout, but you want to get more blood flow with some HIIT cardio and maybe some targeted light crunches, not to failure or anything. You're not trying to build muscle when you do this. You're just trying to get more blood flow to that area to increase lipolysis. Hey, if you like this video, then congratulations, you're smart. Go ahead and subscribe. Turn on notifications, because YouTube acts crazy sometimes and they won't show you the stuff you subscribe to. I mean, what the fuck? Also, follow me on the gram. I'm King Keto on Instagram. I answer every single DM everyone sends me, man. Every time, without fail. Okay, no, I do fail a lot. In fact, I very rarely answer DMs, but I often try to answer some of the DMs. Okay, I rarely try to answer some of the DMs, but sometimes I answer some DMs sometimes, and one of them might be yours. So follow me on the gram. I post dope advice, and my stories is the littest by far. Love you guys. Peace.